are changing trucking industry one super trucker at a time. It's not like we don't know what super trucker is. What do you guys think about it?
What is a supertrucker?
Yeah, what's all the confusion about?
Generally, a super trucker is known, as this dumbass driver who is just simply dumb. And we're trying to change that. We're trying to share the experience, help people out, so we get out of this super trucker place one super trucker at a time. So if you are a super trucker, this is for you. You better watch.
Man, I thought it was cool to be a super trucker because if I'm not mistaken, don't you go by the term of original super trucker? So does that make you the original?
Yep, because
okay. I just wanted to. Hey, I didn't say it. You said it, brother.
But we've evolved. Everybody, we all started somewhere, man.
Where did you start?
Oh, it happened a long time ago, man. I was.
It was one called September, 1960.
No, man, come on. I mean, I know I got the gray hair, but like, it's not that bad. Not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad. I can, agree to that for sure.
I got nothing. I can't find this on either one of these live.
So maybe we're not even live. So just enjoy. Think about it as training.
So this is our pretend live.
Yeah. So we can kind of talk whatever.
Well, then let's start with that, because even having the name Super Trucker, I mean, why even change it? We're just trying to grab some attention to give back to the industry, and it's actually for that. It's maybe even if we attract a real super trucker and we can enlighten that super trucker.
As a matter of fact, I think I agree to this, because we really only running this whole thing for super truckers, because if you are this know-it-all trucker who really got your shit together and you know what you're doing and you're good at it, you're effective, most likely you're not even on this channel. Most likely you're not even seeing us. But if you're a super trucker and you're looking for information, there is a lot of disinformation out there. So, kind of enjoy the ride, and there is going to be a lot of good stuff on this podcast for you to learn from. So again, one super trucker at a time. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, because that kind of leads into last night I was watching some podcasts and stuff about drivers out there and so forth. There's one individual, I won't even say names or anything like that, but he was stating how he was giving up trucking because he started with a company over the road, and it just wasn't what he thought. Felt disrespected left and right from just shippers, receivers, dispatch, and it just wasn't what it was. So eventually landed into a dedicated account, kind of home every other day and so forth. It was good. As they gained market share, as that account grew, then it went from 15 drivers to 200 drivers, and at that point it just got spiraled out of control, where as a company driver he was picking his loads, and now he didn't have that luxury. Then he said he landed another account that got him home for the weekends. And then the minute it didn't land him home for the weekend, automatically that lane, everything just went to shit and hanging it up. So I guess super truckers, what I'm trying to say is, if you're in it for just that one specific account, that's the worth, that's the most thing that you're interested in, is to be home every night and all that. All accounts don't last forever. They're always going to go from one carrier to another. RFPs that go up for bid and all that. So I guess I said all that to always mention, really get into the business for it's either going to be financial. Hold on. Oh, well, my bad. I thought you said my name. Are we even live?
Of course we are. Of course we are.
Go ahead. I can't get it full on YouTube. So.
All right. So it was kind of for that. Like, what is the true intention of becoming a driver? Just that local home, being home every day, or being over the road. I even had an interview yesterday of a individual looking to be that is currently home every day, just not making enough money. But actually, he was saying he was working from 3 a.m. till about 6 p.m. every day, and even though he's home, he's really not. Financially, it was rewarding. However, it's just taxing on the body, and he's like mentally, he's just exhausted every single weekend.
Control that. Well, and look, at the same time, like if your goal is to be home every weekend, as long as you achieve that goal, you're doing good. So there is like really the company, as long as we get you home, it's all good. So if you're not making any money, but your primary goal is to get home every weekend,
But I think
this
it's
is
fine.
it. Because idea is you have to put your priorities in the right places.
Yeah, but I think I think the whole thing is finding the true balance, because even in that YouTube that segment I saw yesterday, the guy was saying he lost one of his best dispatchers because he would pay him for everything. Hey, you got to a drop and hook account. Can you move a couple trailers off the bay door and put a couple on? That means 4 trailers, man. Couple off, couple on is 4.
Yeah.
You know, $150 to do something like that at every location in that. So he would pay for everything. Of course he's going to pay. It's not his money. But and then again, so then we get this misconception. I just want to say let's operate in a realistic realm. Why are you getting into this? There's no free money in trucking, guys. It's just not. The profit margins for the carriers is very slim on all ends. I mean, everybody is here to make some money. So I'm just saying have realistic expectations as to what's about to transpire when you go out there.
So let's touch on that a little bit. Expectations of what's fair. First off, we were having a little bit of technical difficulties. We've got it worked out. So Nick, appreciate you tuning in, brother. We always look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for that. Expectations and understanding the environment that you work in. Those are critical, because when you come in with this preconceived notion that, especially when we see someone come into the company for the first time, they feel like, you ever notice that they feel like they have to lay out these expectations that are so unachievable that they've never achieved that in their life anywhere else, but yet now they're going to try to project that need onto you. Do you see that sometimes?
Yeah, right. Well, I think that's kind of because of we've mentioned before, the distrust in this industry where companies lie to drivers lie to companies, that it feels like day one orientation, or if you're anything like what we do, we put a face to a name, and when we interview, it feels like let's make a deal, right? Everybody's going to sign on the dotted line right there.
Poker face to the table, as if like, because they're being more stern, you're going to give them more or do more for them, or your performance for them is going to be based upon how well they negotiated that table sometimes.
Yeah, or like you're holding back on you are really sitting on 50 local runs right now that pay $3 a mile, as if you're hiding that and preserving that for an individual, right? It just doesn't exist.
And the only guy that's ever going to have access to that is the one that comes in and starts talking like a super trucker. Oh yeah, I need this and I need that. Da, da, da. So how is that possible? I think one of the good questions is like you mentioned last week, the guy that wanted to know if you were tapped into the $2 a mile in every direction type thing. All right.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if that existed and he was tapped into that, would my phone ever have ring?
Well, and at the same time, look at this. Business are shutting down all over the place, right? It's not necessarily have to be a trucking business. Any business.
Yeah.
If everybody always would get whatever, if you as a businessman can only function in a perfect environment, everybody would be a businessman. It takes a lot of work. You have to push through whatever it comes, and the goal at the end of the day is to stay in business, is to be effective, not to prove the point that somebody has to do something for you. Because trust me, if you're looking for regulation that somebody has to do something for you, somebody has to pay you this much, man, I have some bad news for you. Especially in trucking, you're going to be on the bottom. It's everybody else gonna get theirs, except for you. So I think like in this free market and everything else, nothing has to do anything. It's whatever you can do for your business.
Yeah, and I mean, even speaking like locally, right up the road out of Lakeland, Sunco is actually closing their doors on the 29th. So I mean, it's just rampant. You just see it everywhere, and again, I think there's investors involved in all that, but nevertheless, but even company drivers, owner operators, that's why if you are in something good and there's a good lane and preserve it. On-time service matters. Like at some point, we all become complacent in whatever we're doing, And if we don't preserve that account that we're on, I mean that causes customers to outsource.
But also, man, business is business. Like Mike said, it doesn't really matter if it's trucking, what it is. All businesses are going to run on profit and loss. And if you don't know your costs, if you don't understand,
Be careful with that.
if you don't have a grasp at where you need to be at and what you need to be at, and then if you set this expectation that says, well, I like to run for this per mile, but I have to run at this per mile. And somewhere in between there, you're going to take that super trucker attitude and be like, I'm not running. Then that's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that it's got to be realistic. Realistic expectations. When a company can't see whether the investors are there or not, if a company can't see that they've got to do something to cut costs, to run effective, to run efficient, and then also understand that if that customer's saying to them, hey man, that lane you're referring to, customer comes to him and says, hey man, we love the job you've been doing, you're doing a wonderful job, but right now we feel like the market's changed a little bit, we want you to sharpen your pencil a little bit. To that guy that sits back with that proud chest and pokes it way out and says, because this is the business owner, not me. I've given you 100%. I've been 98% on my in and out here on my arrivals. So for me, this is what it is. You take it or leave it. And then he's shocked when all of a sudden one of his biggest accounts just snatched out from underneath him, and now he has all these people that are dependent on him. The same thing on the owner operator side. When he's got his chest out so far that he's like, not me. Them other fools can run for that kind of money. Those other people can do those things, and he can't see that some of something, a little bit of something's better than a whole lot of nothing. And then he sets it home like he's hurting us, and he doesn't move, and he's like, not me, buddy, not me. What does that do? What is your thoughts on something like that?
Well, I mean that's kind of we're finding excuses, right? As to whatever it is on the home front, why not to be out on the road. It becomes easy to find an excuse why not to do something, but it all comes down to guarantees. Who can make you a guarantee in anything, in any business that we're in? It's just kind of like even putting your money in the stock market. If we put money out there, is there a guarantee on a return?
And if you're going to put the money in the stock market that does the guarantee, your return is going to be probably less than inflation, or you're wasting your money.
Yeah, and the thing with that too is, again, before there's 900 comments below in the channel, because that seems to draw a lot of
Or
comments.
9,000.
Or 9,000, we'll
Go.
take whatever. We love them. We love the comments. It's funny those guys that leave those comments never show up Thursday at 2 p.m. Although they all have been invited. So all you guys that leave your negative comments, Thursday, 2 p.m., we're here, baby. So, at the end of the day, it's a little call out, man. Come on. I want to hear what they got to say. Some of them have some pretty good stories. So my point is, though, is that I'm not saying, let me be clear, I'm not saying go out and lose money. No more than if I was investing in a failing company, I would pull out and cut my losses. It's not what we're saying. So there are some people that misinterpret when we say, hey, run even if it's a little bit less than what you want to run for, because they get this idea of like, no, I'm not making money sitting at home, but I'm also not bleeding.
So I have a question. As a driver, how do I know if the company is really doing the best we can, or we just giving me all these talking points, expecting me to take whatever they throw at me? How do I know as a driver where the line is in the sign? Like, is the company really exploiting me, or we really doing a job?
So that's a good. Well,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a good question because I can tell you one thing that I've seen over the last couple of weeks. I've had a couple drivers turn to, because things got a little tight, and so they decided to turn to YouTube. And instead of finding someone like the Super Trucker podcast that's going to tell them about the goods and the bads and everything like that, you get these guys again who puff their chest out and they go, even in this market, brother, I'm going to run for this. And I got $3 a mile out of here and $3 a mile out of here. And they have all these fantasy stories. So then now that driver comes back and says, hey, man, what are you doing? What's up, Mike? Why am I not running in every direction for $3 a mile? And I'm like, where do you get this information from? Well, my friend Bob, who knows Jim, who knows Sam, at the truck stop said, check this guy out on YouTube. And I saw a video, and he had a Raycon to prove it. First off, I wouldn't say that's where you don't...
What's the date of the Raycon?
Yeah, let's say don't start there. And then you had something to say.
Well, I think it's kind of, you got to take it back to the beginning when you're starting with that company. In the orientation, meet your dispatchers, get a vibe of the place, Take it back to the old school, face to a name. Ask how their pay structure is. The guy paid by the hour? Is the guy incentivized? Meaning, the more you make, the more he or she makes. They're simple questions. I mean, you've probably been in the game long enough to start looking at key factors. Again, why would we look for the heaviest, cheapest freight? What value would that be to anybody? Like, that's the. It just makes no sense.
Mike's got a smile. He's like the Grinch. This time he's like,
I know why. Because you all just there, to give drivers cheap and heavy freight.
So C.H. Robinson again?
Yeah, CH.
Oh,
Yeah,
cheap and heavy. Oh, just make sure.
cheap and heavy. And some
CH.
smaller companies, once we become like copycat of CH, cheap and heavy, for the driver, sometimes it feels like crap. Like, okay, coming out of Florida, for example,
Yeah,
can I at least get a light load?
maybe, but maybe not.
What it depends on.
Depends on what's available at the time.
How about anything else?
If water or beer got lighter.
It depends on that driver's willingness.
Miller Lite
we got some Bud Light out of Jacksonville.
or Bud Light? No, but I also think it's
Flexibility.
yeah, and the driver's ability. I think I'm already kind of answering my own question. That's kind of dual personality
All
issue.
right, man. Sorry, I didn't talk to you.
But I think as a driver, as a dispatcher, if I'm a dispatcher and you out there are a driver, my biggest challenge would be really the trust between us. Because if I know that you're my guy, that you're gonna work with me through whatever it takes to achieve the final result, and the final result is your check, you would be coming out with probably the lightest and the best paying load out of what's available. Nothing magic, but I would be able to book load based on what I know about the market, based on the conditions, without us going into this checking on each other thing, because Florida is not the time to check, I think.
You
So
gotta pick
if
your
I know
battles.
you're gonna do it, I'm probably gonna, not because it's kind of a thank you thing to you that you kind of trust me, but it's more of it's easier for me to book something knowing that I got my soldier who's gonna do it.
Yeah, Nick left us a comment. I don't want to miss the comments because we obviously appreciate the interaction. He mentioned that when he started a company, he started a lawn business. He says he can remember how many hits he took trying to build that business, because not every account pays top dollar. Within 5 years, he had 4 trucks, and so, and doing that process, it's the same. Again, it doesn't matter if it's trucking, doesn't matter if you're selling shoes, whatever you're doing. It's going to be about building that steadiness, that constantness, and sometimes you'll get that, you'll come across that load because of where you're at. That'll really be the one you're looking for. But I think, unfortunately, unrealistic expectations, whether placed by the driver or the company or the dispatcher, vice versa, is kind of dangerous, because it creates this bitterness and it starts to create a void between the company and the driver. And the relationship there starts to get a little fault line in it, because distrust moves in. If you don't trust the people that you're working with, and they don't trust you, it's hard to have a relationship. And I think in this business, for things to be successful, for us to truly maximize each other's potential, that relationship is key. And that may sound corny, and that may sound like I'm about to lay you down on the couch as a therapist and tell you about your problems. All honesty, I say trucking is a head game across the board. Right. I say that over and over and over again. You can watch the videos since we started, before we even did the live podcast. A positive attitude can go a long ways. And if you approach this situation, whatever it may be, good, bad, indifferent, if you approach it with a drive and a hunger to find success no matter the circumstances, and you align yourself with a company that believes the same thing, and you can feel their passion, okay? You guys are working together as one complete unit. then I don't see any reason why this time of the year, next time of the year, next month, it doesn't matter when it's fat and happy or when it's skinny and lean, that you can't find success and we can't all be successful and go lay our head down on our pillow at night knowing that we all did the very best that we could.
Right. Like, I mean, going back to even what Nick said right now, getting up to 5 or 4 trucks. What did he say?
It took me 5 years. I had 4 trucks.
Look at that. Opportunity is always going to be on the outside of your comfort zone. And that's what it is, guys. Sometimes we want these opportunities to appear to us within our parameters of what we want to be in this bubble of what time we're willing to work till, what time we're not willing to work. All of that is out the window when you start your own business. And whatever it is, barbershops, lawn businesses, I guarantee you he probably took some work there that maybe it took,
That's what he said. He said it took several hits. So what if he had turned his nose up to some of those accounts and was like, nah.
Yeah,
okay.
one thing
I
is,
don't run for that, so I don't know about you.
one thing is going to lead to another, but you got to leave that fear factor. You have to be willing to get out of that comfort zone to find that opportunity. And then that's just the difference. I mean, what's the difference between him being successful and somebody else with a lawn business being successful? It's that drive and that willingness to think outside the box.
Yeah, because if you don't know your goals, if you don't know what you're there for, you just end up running in circles and nothing really happens.
Yeah. So it's a matter of staying focused. It's a matter of not losing hope just because everything didn't go exactly your way. Do you find that sometimes, and again, this is not picking on anybody, but that we can get a little spoiled? I mean, almost to the point where, like, something didn't go right, so now I need somebody to blame. Is there situations where there's really no one to blame?
All the time.
Let's talk about it, because, I mean, we as humans, the first thing we want to do is what? We want to blame somebody. Why am I here right
ourselves,
now?
though, right?
Yeah,
Because
well, I
What do you do to
I
that?
can give you one example like that I personally went through. At the beginning in trucking, I was like probably extremely well. At the beginning, I was kind of successful because I didn't know anything and I was just taking whatever I was given. And the company that I worked for made the best out of me.
Okay.
And then when I started feeling like, oh, okay, I know what's up. So how about this? How about that? And I just started intervening in the process, and the rate is the problem, the weight is the problem, this is the problem, that is a problem. I'm gonna come out on Monday, and then if we don't offer me something extremely perfect by 10 a.m. and call me 10:30, I would be like, oh yeah. Call me on Tuesday. Try again.
So when you started your unsolicited advice.
Yes. so I just dove right down into the shit pretty much, and after like puddling that shit long enough, I kind of ended up with a situation where nobody is there to give me anything. Nobody is there to do anything for me. Nobody is giving, no matter what kind of shit I talk.
Preach it.
Yeah.
Preach it. Come on.
Nobody is going to give me a jack shit, and nobody worries about anything what's going on in my life outside the work, because everybody has their own work. Everybody has their own thing to do. So once I realized that, and when I approached the trucking as, this is what I'm doing, and I better love it or leave it. I'm not gonna hope for some magic load. I'm just gonna make money today, every day, at least 5-6 days a week. My life really changed in literally probably 4 months. I never had a freaking vacation because I never had money as an owner-operator. Once that mindset changed, I say about 3 months, 4 months down the road, we took a first vacation with my wife to Mexico.
Nice.
Paid by me.
Paid in full.
Paid by your hard work.
Yeah, and not on the credit card.
And you're waiting around. I mean, I didn't know he was going to say any of this stuff, but now he's getting me a little fired
You
up.
put it on the Com Data card.
Right? If you're waiting around for someone else to light that fire for you, if you're waiting around for someone else to give you that kick in the you know what, then you're going to be that guy right there in the beginning of the story. You're going to be sitting around looking for excuses and reasons why. And you can blame your company, you can blame your truck breaking down, you can blame your dispatcher, you can blame everybody in the world. But until you have that fire in your belly to get off your butt and do something and chase after what you started this for, owner-operators that are out there, you started this because you wanted to go on an endeavor to better your family, to better yourself, to own your own company or your own rig and get your own authority. I don't care if you work here or not. This is for anybody and everybody. So you did it for a reason. Stop forgetting why you did it. Stop forgetting that reason. Remember why you did it. It wasn't just to stick it to the man and sit around and do less work. It was to get up and be paid for what you do, to get hungry, to get out there, and to let no one tell you no, and no one to stop you. And so when you got that fire in your belly to realize that, you know what, by God, I'm going to get out here. I'm going to kill it. I don't care what the market's paying. I don't care what this person's saying. I don't care what the guys at the other truck stops are bitching and complaining about everything. I'm going to get out there, and I'm going to make this happen, and I'm going to do it. And then you found what? You found freaking success.
Success, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're sitting in Mexico drinking tequila on the beach naked probably, right?
Almost.
Okay. I'll get off my soapbox.
I was going to ask, how do you really feel? But I think we're...
I know
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
I tried to censor the A word twice and then I said something else. So I was like, whoops.
And then I can only add to this, as I long time ago told my, one of the first business partners, when we started, some business, and the problem was that he was not willing to really put up the work, and his excuse was, just like all of you guys probably heard many times, well, the trucking is not the same anymore. These guys that are up there, we started way in the back when it was paying with gold bricks. And my answer to this was pretty much, listen, man, I can guarantee you, with our business experience together being probably back then, at least, there is a guy somewhere getting his CDL today. And in about a year from now, with his work ethic and his fire, will be in the place where we're never going to be. And it's not to make us smaller, but it is a fact. If you're going to blame the situation and environment and the past, the big man is not giving me a chance, are you taking the chance? Are you really doing what you need to do to get to your goals? Because nobody outside of you gives a flying shit about your goals.
Yeah, because that's just fear. I mean, at the end of the day, you failed before you started if you're already blaming the past or blaming the future operating in there. You have to, if you're going to become an owner-operator, not have a boss, and that's what it's about, then don't be governed by the market like that. Just open up the opportunity to just run. Know how to roll with the punches. Find that formula. There's thousands and thousands of trucks.
Becomes the boss.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, man,
so
the thumb that's on the back.
You're empowering the market, and you're giving it more weight than it has. There is a way to make money. That's the absolutely bottom line to that, and it's just aligning yourself with the people that share that vision. And that's what it takes. It takes teamwork. It's going to take the collaboration between you and the carrier. At the end of the day, that's really what it's about. But if you come with a mindset that it's you against the carrier and the market and DOT and everybody's out to go, gunning for you and ready to kill you, that's a long battle, guys. Don't
buy a truck, because you're just gonna struggle through things and nothing ever gonna happen. It's just gonna be a waste of time, and a lot of times it's not just time. It's what your family gonna go through. When you're gonna pull out all the savings and buy that truck and just waste an opportunity, that's not a good decision. So if you're not ready to go and get it, then don't do it. Maybe some people are just really successful as company drivers, and I know a lot of these guys. Yeah. They never bought a truck, and I was even talking to them like, hey, listen, man, if you work the way you work, if you would have a truck, you would kick ass. Yeah, you'd be but he's like, no, I just don't wanna. I don't wanna deal with those problems. And if you ask me, staying consistent, and we make money.
We got a comment that says, I'm not a millionaire, because of my choices, not because of someone else's choices. So that's somebody stepping up, owning it. Thanks, Nick. That's saying, look, I'm the one that's in control of me. I'm the one that's in control of my future. I'm in control of the outcome. I'm not always in control of every situation that I may face. I cannot control the adversities, the blown tire, the shipper, the receiver, all these things, the detention. Nope, you can't control them, but you can certainly control how you remain calm, focused, and don't let those become an excuse. Sonny says you can always make money if you stay positive. Perfect example right there. Work with your dispatcher like a true inseparable team. I mean,
I'm telling you, attitude is so much in this game.
Absolutely. Even if your dispatcher hates you, first of all, that should never happen. And if there is any hate involved, it's time to go. But at the same time, hypothetically speaking, if your dispatcher hates you, but you still put in 100%, man, you're gonna be all right.
Be successful.
You're gonna be all right.
I'm not gonna be dictated. My success is not gonna be dictated by
On
somebody
some-
else. Some excuse. Well, that guy's not nice and he doesn't do this. Man, this
And
is what we do.
and remember, there's always somebody out there willing to be in the position that you're in. And so you have to see that what opportunity, what you actually have in front of you, and what you can make blossom from there.
So with that being said, there's guys on our team that watch this podcast, and they find amazing success. There's other ones that watch it that may be on the way to find that success, but they're still having the same thing. They could have the same truck. They could even have the same dispatcher. They're working for the same company, and there can be a vast amount of difference between what that one person does versus what the next person does. So what's the contributing factor there? See, I think that is like the golden nugget of this whole
Thought
video.
process.
I think it's just setting your goals straight, because again, if your goals, if you're busy with everything else, all the background noise,
Busy work.
when are you making money?
And what's important? Forget all the other stuff. Push the stuff to the side that's not important. Forget the things you can't control. Control yourself, control your attitude, control how you respond to certain things, and then don't let something hold you down. Don't be derailed. Don't be that train that's just knocked off the tracks. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. The little train that should.
Yeah, I was reading in one smart book, a little too smart for me, but it was saying along the lines that do the best you can do and worry only about the things that you can do, like you personally can change and can do, and don't worry about the rest, and then you're gonna be successful.
Thank you for reading the book that I wrote. I appreciate that.
No, that was only like no, that wasn't you. That wasn't you.
Did you guys see my name at the bottom of it?
And I didn't even read the book. I think my wife read that little portion to me.
Oh, as she's putting you to sleep.
The bedtime story.
It's like, okay, Michael. Control what you can control, honey.
I'm just lazy reading, but like,
It's like, no hot chocolates in there.
there are some smart books out there. Like I think one of the best, very difficult to understand. Like, but it's very basic, and at the same time, it's very difficult. The Art of War. It's actually about trucking, believe it or not. Like, it was written way before freaking combustion engine was even a thing, but it's about trucking.
So it's like a 3-foot wagon.
If you don't believe it, just read it. It basically says everything what we just were talking about. Know when you win, know when you lose, pick your battles, know your goal, and don't kill yourself running into ambitious battle when you already know what you're gonna lose. Do calculate, choose the battles, and win the war.
That's it. It's just mindset is so monumental to success in this game. That's really
Absolutely.
what it
And
comes.
to cap
Mindset
on
is
that,
everything.
What if you lose the battle? It certainly means you didn't lose the what?
Then you go home.
You didn't lose the war. Don't go home, Mike.
No, if you already lost the battle, you go home if you can.
You lose the battle, but you don't lose the war. So there's going to come time where there's guys watching this video who we're probably going to meet them right now on their very low. You're hearing this. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be a year from now. You're watching this video and you're at your low. You've lost the battle. You feel like, hey, I need to give up, go back to being a company driver. This is when you pull the bootstraps and get yourself up, you get back on the horse and you ride, and you don't give up, and you change what got you there. And I can promise you, if you start pointing the fingers, well, it was this, this, and this, and this, then don't get back up. Like I say, go home.
You know,
but if you can look at yourself and look at that mirror and say, hey.
Because that kind of sets the tone for people that are looking. Because you're either looking because one, you're just buying a truck and you accept it and you're gonna go on this adventure, or number two, things aren't working out where you currently are. So my point to that is the successful guy with the formula, he's not switching companies because he's making money and everything. He's just a steady guy. He's a steady guy. So wherever you're working, look at those guys. Look out for them. You know, just quiet guys and see what they do in the formula. Chance.
Just be very careful when you're looking, because when that guy at the truck stop approaches you, talking about all those millions of dollars out there that he was making, that he would be making if he only could start his beat up truck, just look at the cover of the book and decide for yourself if this is what you want to be. If that's what you want to be, that's a good advice to take.
Yep. You know, and it's always like, oh, if DOT would do this, if DOT would do. But the reality is, even if they agreed and changed the rule for him tomorrow, it's a new complaint, and the formula is never going to work.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like professional critic, like some of our guys on the YouTube.
So bring it, bring it.
I was so looking forward to the story from the guy that was going to tell us how he grows 9,000 plus every week in dry van market. I mean, I was like ready. I had my notepad, my pen.
Where you at?
I was hoping Gary Roach was going to show up. Shout out.
No, and look, 9,000 a week. I've done that, but yes, not last year,
Yeah.
not exactly legally, not under
it's
ALDs.
too-
Paper
I'm not
logs,
too
paper
proud.
logs.
And still, I can guarantee you, somebody did over 9,000 for sure. We can,
It's
I can guarantee you.
It's doable.
It just, the idea is, like, I remember one time I was talking to this guy, and he presented himself as somebody who was in trucking for a long time. And now he talks about the market and about the companies and about how much who pays. So are you the company that paying $3 a mile, or are you the company that paying $1 a mile? And I'm like, how long you said you're doing business? Well, 20 years. I know it all. Well, that's, sir, the most stupid question I've ever heard. Because in the spot market, there is no $3 a mile, there is no $1 a mile. It's the best that you can
The
get.
answer to that
Yeah,
question is,
well-
I pay both.
Yeah, well, whatever it takes.
Whatever
Because
I can get my
sometimes,
hands on.
if the market is paying 80 cents a mile and they got you $1,
Heck yeah.
you better freaking rock and roll.
High five, baby.
But even in that, so let's take it back to when the market was in our favor at its peak. Are we to believe that nobody was going out of business?
Man, we had right here some owner operators when the freight was paying $4 a mile going out of business. You know why? Because we wanted $4.20.
Yeah, that's the point. It's they didn't get the formula.
Yeah.
Even at $4 a mile, you drove yourself out of business.
And the guy who was successful in the crappy business is successful. Or, for example, same thing with dispatch. If you can only function in a good market, if you cannot book freight and be successful and make your drivers successful in the shitty market, then you are a pretty shitty dispatcher, if you ask me. Heck yeah.
Sorry,
It's like,
my bad.
preach it. No, that's true. All jokes aside, absolutely. If you can only get it while the getting's good, then you're not much of a getter. That's straight up Polk County right there, baby.
Yeah, anybody can do it when it's easy.
Yeah.
But when it's tough, that's when it matters. Because somebody who can push through the tough.
Yeah,
Well,
because those
there
guys that
doesn't-
you're talking about that find success in the tighter market.
Oh, I thought what you were talking about the other guys with. Okay.
No, well, when that market gets when it's plentiful, they're smart enough to put some to the side.
Yeah,
I mean, the farmer
absolutely.
that knows that he had an abundance of crop, he puts a little back in the storehouse because he knows soon enough there'll be coming a famine. You know
And
what I mean?
it's every industry. I mean, I was involved in jewelry manufacturing. We owned a manufacturing company, and it's the same thing.
I thought he was gonna say that was pickpocketing.
And it's
Actually, taking his jersey.
that was high school, man.
Okay,
Dirty
okay.
Jersey. No, and it's the same thing. Volume comes and goes, and when the market is down, you find side gigs to stay busy. So you got to pay the light bill. You got to keep the rent. And so you start to navigate in those waters. But all I can do, did I blame Lehman Brothers for closing? And that was 80% of the clientele for
Did you?
No, I didn't. You just keep pushing forward, and you have to find a way.
You got into the trucking industry after that.
Yeah, I went back to trucking industry.
Whatever it takes, eh?
Yeah.
Whatever
I gotta
it
feed my
takes.
family, right?
Yeah.
So I either lay down, complain, and panhandle, or
Send the wife to get a second job.
yeah, and I stay home and talk about how it's everybody's fault but my own.
Or
And
ask her to read you stories at night when it's time to go to bed. Read me The Art of War, honey.
All right.
Yeah, it's all good.
Oh,
The goose is fair for the gander,
this
but no.
isn't-
So when it was time for you to get up and do something, you got up and you did something. So again, guys, if we can take anything from this today, do not look for excuses. Because if you look for them, this is one guarantee that the Super Trucker Podcast can give you. If you look for excuses, you will find them for sure.
Absolutely, but we're not gonna help you.
Look for solutions, baby.
Yeah, look for solutions.
Full
Do
emotion.
do whatever you have to do, because at the end of the day, it's really the get your goals straight up and achieve them, no matter what. Achieve them no matter what, because one of the biggest problems that I see in the circle of my friends, owner operators, I'd say about half of them operating and functioning in life on theoretical income.
No.
We kind of just ballparking. Okay, I should be making $2,500 a week, which I totally agree for. As an owner operator, I think you should make that or more. Kind of depends on how much work you put in, and then we work every other week, and then put the sticks in the wheels every week that we work, and then we have one crappy week, and then no week at all. One crappy week and no week at all. So in their head, we're functioning. I'm making $10,000 a month, so I can afford this house, I can afford this car, I can afford this chick. But the chances are probably not, because out of those theoretical $10,000, you're really making 26, 28, and then you're paying 15 for your truck and the rest for maintenance. So you're pretty much surviving off your wife's paycheck.
And even if at that point, man, I mean, even if you can manage your money properly and you're doing that, don't do that 1 week off, because even though that you might find value in that, but at the end, in the long run, I mean, wouldn't it just be easier to say, hey, let me grind right now and pay the house down, pay the car, something, line up
Get
that.
rid of the chick.
Yeah. So when by the time it's time that you physically
When I
get a
say the
medical car-
chick, I mean the chick that you're planning to marry, and
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all
we're all not like you, man.
we're not like
No.
He just said that I can afford the house, the car, and the chick, and I'm like,
The chicken.
Oh, okay.
the chicken for your family.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're all clear. No, I agree. So it's about staying focused. It's about staying positive, and at the end of the day, we're in this together. So I really think too that allowing other people to be a part of your success is also key. I know we kind of haven't talked too much about that. We've talked about the cause and effect if your dispatcher or your company's not there for you, but I don't want to give that message of not letting them open themselves up a little bit to allowing other people to be part of that success, because you can't do it all on your own. What if you are the best driver there is with the greatest work ethic, but you're like, nah, man, this is my show. I'm not partnering with you. I'm not gonna do this. Man, it's a dance, and you both got to be there. You both got to show up, and you both got to put in your best foot forward.
And also just stay in the positive vibe, because it's very easy, like most of the times when the drivers talk, it's a lot about the negative stuff, like, oh, the market is crap, the big brother is holding you back, the companies are ripping you off, the DOT is doing something else, the FMCSA is doing something else, the Hillary is not in prison. I mean,
That does have a lot to do with that.
yes, but look, it just stay positive, okay? Let the negative people vibe in their own little shithole and do your own thing. get together with people that are looking the same direction, that are, trying to achieve something instead of boiling into that, pot of crap.
Don't get lost.
In the sauce.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Anything else? I think that was a pretty good, positive podcast.
Yeah, and just remember, saving the world one super trucker at a time.
One super trucker at a time.
Uno.
Your 35 cents a day goes to help super truckers. No, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate always the comments. I'm sure we'll have some later on through the night and as the day goes for people to think we right, wrong, or indifferent. That's okay. We always encourage that, and whether positive, not positive, negative, it doesn't matter. We're going to remain positive. We are who we are. We're not fake. We're not phony. We give you the real deal. So hope you enjoyed the podcast. And you guys got anything else?
That's it. Just keep on trucking.
Peace
All right,
out.
guys. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Yep.